President Trump started his new term with a barrage of executive orders, a record 92 in his first 2 months alone. And a majority mirror ideas in Project 2025. That's the 922-page radical conservative blueprint that Trump repeatedly distanced himself from on the campaign trail.
I have nothing to do with Project 2025.
I've never read it, and I never will.
I've said 100 times, I know nothing about it.
But now,
a number of the policies that he's pushing out at breakneck speed are almost identical to what Project 2025 wanted to impose.
Here are some of the notable ways Trump's first few months are aligning with Project 2025 and what that can tell us about his second term.
One of the biggest themes in the Project 2025 document was dismantling the federal bureaucracy, essentially attacking the administrative state.
In fact, it's one of the big promises made throughout the playbook. The next conservative administration should be prepared to dismantle the administrative state.
But at the same time, this is something that Republicans for decades have said they wanted to do. They argue the government's too big, too sprawling, involved in too many things, it's wasting too much taxpayer money.
Trump has wasted no time reducing the size of the government and changing how it's staffed. Of his more than 90 executive orders since taking office, more than a quarter are focused on addressing the power of the federal government and the makeup of its workforce. And most of those have similarities to ideas in Project 2025, which was created by the conservative think tank Heritage Foundation.
Even though Trump tried to distance himself from Project 2025 during the campaign, he spent a lot of time talking about the quote-unquote deep state and railing against government bureaucracy.
In his Agenda 47, which outlined his campaign platform, Trump promised to stop woke and weaponized government and to
dismantle the deep state and reclaim our democracy from Washington corruption once and for all.
But Project 2025's roadmap also included specific actions to help the president remake the federal bureaucracy. It recommended reinstating the Schedule F classification, making it easier to fire policy-making employees, which Trump did on his first day back in the Oval Office. And Project 2025 advocated for ending the independent status of certain agencies like the FTC or SEC. In February, Trump signed an executive order that asserted authority over those agencies. One of Trump's Day One executive orders renamed the United States Digital Service to the Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon Musk.
Project 2025 did not call for the creation of a specific Department of Government Efficiency, but there's a lot of overlap in what DOGE does and what Project 2025 wanted to do.
In other executive orders, Trump empowered DOGE to help reduce the size of the federal workforce by approving hiring, consulting on new agency regulations, and scrutinizing agency payments. That echoes Project 2025, which called for eliminating functions and programs that are duplicated, handcuffing the bureaucracy, and restoring fiscal limits.
In some cases, DOGE has gone much further than what Project 2025 actually envisioned. For example, the entire dismantlement of USAID.
At times, Trump has also gone further than the playbook on immigration, though many of his ideas have aligned.
We're going to have the largest deportation operation in the history of our country.
There were numerous proposals in Project 2025 that President Trump could have pulled from if he wanted to, that would help him with the big deportation effort and other immigration restrictions. But really, anyone who's heard President Trump speak knows that immigration is a huge priority for him.
Trump has signed 8 executive orders related to immigration, and many of them echo recommendations in Project 2025, like sending troops to the southern border and declaring a national emergency, and putting sanctions on countries that refuse to take back deportees.
However, he's gone much further in some areas. For example, one of the first things he did was sign an executive order that would ban birthright citizenship.
While Trump promised to get rid of it during his campaign, Project 2025 didn't outright call for ending birthright citizenship, which most legal scholars agree is clear in the Constitution. But Project 2025 did call for making the government hard targets for woke culture warriors. The word woke appears over dozens of times, and it's a favorite of Trump's too.
Considering how woke your party has become, Joe Biden's woke policies, there will be no wokeness. We're not going to be woke.
He argued there were too many federal agencies who were adopting these DEI policies that he say were making the government less efficient and making the government less fair.
About 10% of Trump's executive orders focused on wiping out DEI initiatives in the government, schools, and even the private sector. All of those orders mirrored proposals from Project 2025, like terminating federal DEI programs, recognizing only male and female sexes, and emphasizing recruiting federal workers only on merit, not race, sex, or religion.
One of the reasons that President Trump and the authors of Project 2025 are so focused on getting what they call the wokeness out of government is they believe this is a big liberal agenda item.
DEI would have ruined our country, and now it's dead.
And so they think by pulling this out and by stopping this, they'll get the federal government back, into their camp, and it'll make it harder for these agencies to resist what President Trump wants to do with his agenda.
That agenda overlapped with Project 2025 even before Trump took office in January.
So his supporters are saying, well, this is what he campaigned on. These ideas are his ideas and the things that he said he would execute.
In a statement, the White House said Americans would be better served learning about how Trump has swiftly delivered on key campaign promises in his first few months. And the Heritage Foundation said that Trump's current actions aren't about its recommendations in Project 2025, and that he and his team deserve the credit.
Democrats, however, are saying, wait a second, there's too much overlap. This is exactly what we told you was going to happen.
Especially since Trump hired multiple key architects and contributors of Project 2025 to be in his administration. Some of them had even served in his first one.
Plain and simple, this is Project 2025. Project 2025 by another name.
And the project's former director agrees. Paul Dance, who was ousted from the Heritage Foundation during the 2024 campaign, told Politico that Trump's current agenda is beyond his wildest dreams. Still, there are parts of the conservative blueprint that Trump has stopped slightly short of embracing, like national restrictions on abortion.
One thing that the overlap of some of Trump's proposals with Project 2025 should tell us going into the next parts of his administration is that there really are no ideas that he might deem to be too controversial or too conservative. He's doing so much so fast that it's hard for his critics to push back, and he sees that it can actually be quite effective to kind of go for it, especially in the first 100 days of his administration.